What's up guys, Mitchell Watts with Town & Country TV, and today I am super pumped to show you my brand new 2021 Ford Bronco Badlands. In this video, we're going to do a couple of different things. The first thing we're going to do is a full walk around Town & Country TV style that showcases everything about this particular Bronco. The spec that I chose, or really, I guess, just accepted, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But we're also going to talk about some of the most recent news when it comes to the molded in color hardtop issues that Ford has announced. And I think it's interesting, especially because this is the soft top version. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. As I've already mentioned to you, this is a 2021 model, and I'm excited to show it to you because this is really one of the very first Badlands we've actually seen come across our particular dealership. I'm going to also talk about how I came about this particular vehicle for me personally as well. But the first thing I want to show you, obviously, this is the Oxford white paint scheme. This is not necessarily my first choice. It was actually my second choice of color, but I absolutely love this particular color for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I already have a 95 model Bronco that is also the exact same color. So I've got a couple of ideas for naming this vehicle. I'd like to hear what you guys think, but I'm even thinking about calling this thing the Juice. You know, the juice is loose. O.J. Simpson. Anyway, O.J. Juice. Anyway, let's keep moving with the actual walk around itself. But as you can see, because this is the Badlands version, you've got the molded in color front grille. So this is a carbonized gray grille, and it's nice that the actual lettering inside of the Bronco matches the rest of the vehicle. So I'm not going to have to paint match this, but it is a fun fact that you actually can pop these off, sand them, spray them, and then reinstall them, but I'm not going to need to do that. Now I am thinking about possibly taking this grille and turning it into a black, whether I do a wrap on it or paint. I haven't quite decided yet, but my whole goal for this thing is to be a white and black theme. So I kind of want to get rid of the molded in color there. Now this one is a Badlands edition, so you do have the heavy duty modular front bumper. That bumper is, well, it's going away. I don't want to get too much into the details of what I've got planned for this thing, but I've got massive plans for this truck that's going to happen very, very soon. And what we're planning on doing is taking my exact Bronco from Alabama all the way up to Colorado, Buena Vista, Colorado, for the Bronco Super Celebration. So if you live in the area or plan on going to that Bronco Super Celebration, make sure you meet up with me. I'd love to actually see you guys, shake hands, and all that kind of fun stuff. So this truck, once it's done with the modifications, will be at that Bronco Super Celebration. So I'm super pumped about that. But nonetheless, let's keep walking around to the side of the vehicle and show you a couple of different things. Now this is obviously the non-Sasquatch version. So you've got a set of 33-inch BFG ATKO2 tires. So they are it's technically a 285/70 R17, but that comes out to being about a 33-inch tire. Now those wheels and tires are also going to be history. I'm not going to tell you exactly what we're doing there because that would give away the future plans as far as that wheel and tire combination is concerned, but just know this is what it comes with from the factory. Now the other thing about this vehicle, because it is a Badlands, it has a Sasquatch-esque type of suspension system. Now what do I mean by that? Well, the Sasquatch package, whether you get a base model or all the way up, it has got the Haas suspension system, the high-speed off-road stability suspension system. Basically, what that means is it has position-sensitive dampening, so that way when you're off-roading at high speed, it can adjust automatically for what's going on with the suspension. And the fun thing about that is Badlands is the only edition that has that Haas suspension system that doesn't require the Sasquatch to get it, if that makes sense. I hope I didn't confuse you guys, but it's interesting to know this one has got a very similar suspension system to the Sasquatch in that regards for the position sensitive dampening. Now the other nice part is the Badlands also comes with a stabilizer bar disconnect. Now I hear some people call it a sway bar disconnect. I hear some people call it a stabilizer bar disconnect. And depending on which camp you live out of, some people get very passionate on which one it is, but it's very nice. All you have to do is hit the button on the dashboard, and the vehicle, while it's flexed out, can flex out even further, maintaining you extra traction. It's going to be perfect for rock crawling. It's going to be perfect for Buena Vista, Colorado when we take this thing on the trails. So you want to make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that kind of content. Now, as you can see, you also happen to have your rock sliders, rock rails really. These are body mounted. They're from Ford factory, and these are also going to get replaced as well. And so I don't want to go into too much detail what we're getting into there, but from the factory it does come with the rock rails. It does make it a little bit harder to get in and out of because you don't have a place to step. You know, right now it's not an issue, but it might be an issue here very, very soon. Coming around to the back side of the vehicle, same thing. You got your wheel and your tire combination, and I just kind of want to showcase the back end of the vehicle as well. So we're going to pop into the inside here in just a second, but before I do, I want to showcase to you how this whole tailgate operates. And you've probably seen this before, but it is really nice that because this thing has got the push button start, all I have to do is make sure the key is on my person, and when I stick my hand in here, it automatically unlocks the vehicle. As you can see the lights coming on, that's saying, hey, I recognize that you're trying to get in the back of the vehicle, and you can open it up. Now, one downside to the Bronco itself, it's not really a downside, it's just a design choice, is that you cannot have access to in here without opening the tailgate. So like for instance, on my wife's Expedition, you can pop up the glass, reach in, grab something and close it. You don't have to open the whole hatch up. Well, that's not possible, one, because of the soft top, two, in every situation you have to open this tailgate. So if you're in a situation where you don't have enough room to swing this thing out, you can't really get anything back out of here. So that's something you just need to realize. But the nice part is this tailgate does open to this location right here, but if you want, you can even take it even further, located right here. Now I'm going to showcase to you later on in the video a full soft top operation. We did a video not long ago where I learned how to use the soft top for the first time on camera, and since then I've gotten a lot faster, and I'm going to show you real time what it actually looks like to take the top on and off all the way to the back area. So nonetheless, you do have the ability to pop this thing up. You have a little kickstand if you want to, so that way if you need to get some big items out of the back, you don't have to run with a lower clearance here. You do have the ability to get a little extra space there. I think that is a really, really nice setup on the Ford soft top. And then also you've got a bottle opener located back there, but we'll show that to you here a little bit later. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside, and then we'll wrap it up with the roof and then also in the engine. Okay, so I just changed my mind. We're gonna do the top first and then the interior. The reason I wanna do that, so that way you have a better look as to what the inside actually looks like. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and start undoing this top. We'll do it in real time. If you wanna skip this portion, or if you've already seen it, we'll have the time cards down below inside of the video. So, all right, without further ado, let's take a look at the top. So the very first thing is this soft top operation. There's gonna be two latches, one on either side. If you hit this latch and unlock it, it's really nice because you just have to literally lift it up and it walks it straight back to this particular setup. From here, you can drive around all the time if you want to in this setup, no questions, no qualms. Now, once you've done this and you want to take it back to the next step, the first thing you need to do is remove these rear panels. Once you've got those rear panels removed, you can take the top all the way to the back. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'll start with this driver's side first. And the first thing I want to do is I want to pull up the Velcro itself. All right, and I'm going to flip this piece up. And what you want to do is unclasp these little clasps. There's 3 on each side, and there's a few in the rear as well. So now that I've got that particular piece pulled out, you can do it a couple of different ways. The main thing you want to do is make sure that you are not pulling on the seams themselves. You don't want to add extra stress to the actual top over the lifetime of the vehicle. So you just want to make sure you're very careful with that. So I've got that side popped out. I'm going to pop this side out, open the door, and literally just slide it on out. Make sure that you've got clearance. There you go. All right, so I've got that particular panel pulled out, set it there nice and gently. I'm going to do the same thing for the passenger side. Undo the clasp first, undo the Velcro and the clasp, flip this piece up, and just pull it out right here, pull it out right here, and then slide it forward. There you go. I'm going to set this one down in the same location. And now we're going to work on the rear part. So I like to open up the tailgate so that way I'm not working over this spare tire, but the same thing, you got a clasp, and a clasp. And very similar, what you want to do is from here, you want to take this bottom little corner and you want to kick it out just like that, okay? And then on this side, you want to do the exact same thing, kick out this particular corner. Now from here, you want to release the top side, and just like before, slide it on out. So once again, after you've done this once or twice, it's significantly easier to get this thing figured out. It just, you know, that last time I truly was trying to figure it out on the channel, and I shouldn't have done that. I should at least practice one time. So Josh, as you bring the camera over to this side, I'm going to show you another thing that is important to note when you're dropping the soft top. So to get it to this position, all you have to do is hit those two latches. If you want to take it from this position all the way down, there's going to be a lever located right here. So you press that lever and it unlocks both sides. And then from there, you've got this nice convenient button that says lift from here. And so that's what I'm going to do. And then just slowly walk it on back. Now what you'll notice is that it will lock in this last position. So as I push it down, as you heard, it just locked on that side. I'm going to make sure that it locked on this side. There we go. And now I'm good to drive down the interstate with that top all the way back. It's a pretty sweet little setup. So now that we've got the top back, I'm going to show you one of my favorite things that I've already added as far as a modification, and that is going to be this speaker. All right, so this speaker is actually made by JBL. It is a Ford Accessories soundbar that I personally installed this thing myself last night in my garage in just a very short period of time. And what's so crazy about it is that it had no instructions and it still took me no time to figure it out. But it actually replaces the factory squares on each side, the factory speakers on each side. And let me tell you, this system does not feature the Lux, so it does not have the B&O audio system. It has the high package. We're gonna cover that here in a second. But it took the speaker system from god-awful to definitely manageable and actually kind of enjoy it. It sounds very similar to the sound quality of my 2017 Raptor with the Sony Premium audio system. But as you can hear, yeah, this song is epidemic sound. You ain't got to worry about none of the, no copyright, YouTube, so don't hit me up. But let's do this. Let's get a nice listen to exactly what this thing sounds like. Well, and there you go. That is what that sound speaker sounds like. I will tell you though that it is very difficult to capture the audio from this coming into my microphone and then back out to YouTube. So I'm pretty confident it's not going to sound good over your speakers or over your phone. But trust me, if you do not have a Lux package with the B&O audio system, this thing is actually not that expensive, and it is something that you can definitely easily install. I will tell you one gripe about that is it does block a little bit of the rear view with the actual mirror. So that's something to note. You can still see underneath it, but it does block it a little bit. But to me, you know, if I'm riding in this, you know, top down position anyways, I already can't see anything anyway, so why not? We're going to talk about the front here in just a second, but while we're still back here, I want to talk about the seating configuration. So obviously this is the marine grade vinyl. Because it is a Badlands, it comes standard with marine grade vinyl and washout floors. You have the ability to up it to leather if that's something that you want to do, but I want to notice a quirk to you guys, that everything on the inside of this vehicle is designed to be washed out. I say everything. The electronics are not designed to be washed out, but they are. Some of the electronics are, you know, got rubber sealing to try and kind of keep as much water out as possible. But it's interesting to note this seat is designed to be hosed out. But on the back side of the seat, they actually have carpeting, which is weird because even in the cargo area, they've got vinyl flooring as well. So it's funny to me that on the back of the rear seats, you've got carpet, but everywhere else, there's not a stitch of carpet. Another funny quirk to me is going to be located in the center console. So a lot of videos have already been made, and it's noted that there is no air conditioning vents inside the center console. That is one thing that my kids are gonna miss, but I don't really care. But anyways, I think it's interesting to say that they have to tell you that there is no step designed here. I guess they're worried about people standing on here, you know, like they used to do in limousines back in the olden days, and you stick your head out the sunroof. You definitely are not allowed to step on this. Now, it is also interesting to note that you do have your power windows located inside the center console as well. And because of the spec that we've got selected, we have a USB-C and USB-A, as well as a normal household outlet plug, good for 110 volts, 400 watts max. On the back of these seats, you've got a Molly grate system, so you can hang stuff off here. You can be all technical and fun and stuff like that if you want, but you also have a nice little netting here if you want to store something very, very small. And speaking of netting, you also have that netting in each one of the doors on this particular four-door Bronco. Now, lastly, I'm going to showcase the rear of the vehicle so that way you can see, or the rear vinyl flooring so you can see this. But as you can see, I actually purchased the rubber floor mats, but underneath that, you actually have the active drain plug, so that way you literally can hose out the inside of the vehicle, and then when you're done, you can actually seal it back up, which I think is pretty stinking sweet. All right, now that we are in the front of the vehicle, I'm going to showcase a couple of different things. First up is this netting that we just talked about in action. So as you can see, it is perfect for a water bottle. I don't know that I'd be putting anything that doesn't have a top on there because it's probably going to come out and spill. But then again, you get the marine grade vinyl. I'm not really worried about stuff getting spilled in it, or even if it rains a little bit on the inside of this particular Bronco. Now, you've probably seen 100 of our videos before that talks about Bronco, so I'm going to try and focus on stuff that I've not talked about before. So hopefully you guys get something new, beneficial out of it. But as you can see, you actually have your grip handles located right here. These are designed to be easily swappable, but I do wish for some reason that Ford gave us the ability to choose what coloration accents you've got inside of this vehicle. Because this is a Badlands, it's got orange everywhere on the inside. Orange is not necessarily my favorite color, but then again, if we're going to nickname this thing the Juice, maybe orange is the right color for the interior. But nonetheless, let's take a look on the inside. I'm going to hop in, showcase to you a couple of things that's going on. Now, as you can see, we've got the air conditioner blowing, and this is one thing that I've noticed about the Bronco is, yes, it doesn't have the vents for the rear, but these front air conditioning vents are very freaking potent. This thing puts out a lot of cool air. Now, the other thing I want to showcase to you, Josh asked me, he's like, man, why'd you bring your cord in here? This thing's got wireless Apple CarPlay. Well, I wish I had smart remark on video, but I don't. So the reason for that is, one, this is my personal vehicle, and I do like the wired Apple CarPlay, but as you can see, I do have the wireless Apple CarPlay inside of this 12-inch screen. The reason this one has the 12-inch screen is because it does have the high package. So it does have everything that is listed right there on the screen that comes with that high package on the Badlands. A couple of my favorite features are going to be the dual climate control, so that way if my wife is really hot, she can set hers down to low. If I am different, if I'm cold, I can turn mine up to 77 and everybody is happy. So that's a fantastic setup. Also, it's interesting to note that we've got the heated seats inside the marine grade vinyl, which is huge. I am shocked at how hot these seats get, which is a huge benefit to me because I love the heated seats even in the summertime, as long as I got the air conditioner blowing. So something to keep in mind there. Now, a couple of other things that you've got located here, you do have your camera icon, which gives you the 360-degree camera. Once again, that is a part of that high package, so keep that in mind there. Every vehicle will have, depending on the trim level, the options, and the package that you selected, this stuff will vary. Up here, you have your hero switches, a couple of different things. You got your hazards on and off. And by the way, before I continue on with these, notice how they're rubberized. And so it's not waterproof. None of this truck is waterproof, but it is definitely water resistant because you don't have these little seals around the button. You actually happen to have a rubberized coating over on top of it. Traction control on and off. You have trail turned assist, which we'll demonstrate hopefully maybe here shortly in an upcoming video. We have the locking rear axle, locking front axle, and then we also have the stabilizer bar disconnect. In fact, you know what? I see something over here that, you know what, let's just go ahead and try it out and see how this thing works. All right, so now we are ready to try this stabilizer bar disconnect. Sorry for the redneck surrounding and the urban asphalt. Urban off-roading is what I like to call it. But nonetheless, I've got a short period of time to get this done, and I wanted to showcase it to you guys. So this is what we've got. Proper off-roading videos are definitely coming, I can promise you that. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and put it in the rock crawl mode. Now, the nice thing about GOAT modes is it's dummy proof. So you can just simply turn the dial until you get into the mud and ruts, or in this case, we're gonna do the rock crawl mode. And I'm gonna show you why here in just a second. All right, so now I'm in rock crawl mode. It's gonna tell me to put it in neutral, so that way it can shift it to 4 low. And once it does that, it's automatically going to disconnect the rear, the stabilizer bar, and it's also going to automatically add in the rear locker. I'm going to turn the stabilizer bar disconnect back on, so that way it's like it's on road. I'm going to put the front locker back on, just so that way we don't have any tire slippage. But let's go ahead and creep on forward. And you will see eventually the vehicle will kind of get to a point. There we go. So as you can see, I'm kind of teetering right there. If I hit the button, the car completely settles itself back down, and now I've got more traction to maintain on my current path. That was sick. Did it drop as far as it felt like it did? And at this point, because we've got those beautiful goat modes, all you have to do is simply turn it back into normal mode and make sure you're in neutral, and it will automatically take everything back to the way it is supposed to be. So that is one of my favorite things about goat modes, is it just speeds it up. Like I kind of know what I'm doing as far as lockers and, you know, what to do and when to do it, but this really will actually help speed everything up. Before we showcase to you under the hood and what motor is underneath there, and then also talk about the hardtop issues that Ford is dealing with, I want to talk about one last thing on the inside, and that is going to be these auxiliary switches. So the nice thing about the Ford Bronco is not only are these switches here, but everything is pre-wired for anything that you might want to do. So for instance, if you want to put a light bar across the front top roof line, there's a wire already pre-wired for that. All you have to do is wire it up, hit the button, and you're live. It actually will significantly reduce the amount of time it takes to install accessories. And so I've got some fun accessories that are going to be utilizing these switches as well. So once again, stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look underneath the hood. And I'll go ahead and pop the hood, showcase to you what we got here. And this is going to be the 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine. So I'm kind of pumped up that this one has the 2.7. I was actually originally planning on settling for a 2.3, but realistically with my driving experience, I'm not noticing that much of a difference as far as the 2.3 and the 2.7. Yeah, you can tell a difference. I'm not trying to say it's the same motor. It's definitely more potent with the 2.7, but those of you that have got 2.3s on order, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But nonetheless, this is that 2.7 liter EcoBoost that you've got underneath the hood of this particular Bronco. All right, so now, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about some of the issues that Ford has just recently announced as far as the hardtops are concerned. Now, I do want to say this first off, Ford does not have any say-so in what I say. If I want to say an honest opinion, they don't directly pay my bills. Obviously, we are a Ford dealership, we are a custom shop, and so I do have a little bit of bias in me, but I want to tell you that on the front end because I don't want people thinking that, oh, he's just a Ford spokesperson there. He's getting a check from Ford. I do not receive a check from Ford, although checks are welcome, Ford. No, with that, all right, so now that I've got that disclosure out there, let's talk about what those issues are that just got announced and what kind of your next steps are. So what Ford has realized, there is a issue with the molded and colored hardtops. They've noticed that in extreme heat and extreme humidity situations that there is an unsightly look to the actual top itself. It's not a functionality issue. They're not snapping and breaking on people. It's not a safety concern. It is simply just a cosmetic appearance, a cosmetic issue. So the nice part is Ford Motor Company is actually going back in and making it right. So if you already have your Bronco in your hands with the original molded and colored hardtop, Ford's going to replace it at absolutely no cost to you. And I think it's a props to Ford for taking one on the chin and saying, yes, we screwed up, or technically Webasto, their supplier for the hardtop screwed up, but at the end of the day, it always falls back on the manufacturer, which is Ford Motor Company. So props to Ford for at least taking the big boy route and saying, yes, there's an issue, yes, we're going to take care of it, no questions asked. Now, the problem that runs into is, what does this do for other molded and colored hardtops? So like for instance, if you have a Bronco that's already been produced, it's sitting on a lot in Michigan, and it's sitting there with that molded and colored hardtop, what's going to happen? Well, Ford will not ship that vehicle until it gets a new hardtop. And so in some situations, I've heard some people say October or November before they have enough molded and colored hardtops to start swapping out those tops. Now, what Ford has told us is they're going to go off of the ones that have been built up there the longest. And so if you just got yours built, one, it may be the new version, so hopefully it'll get shipped out pretty quickly, but realistically, they're going to prioritize the vehicles that are up there right now that have been up there the longest with a molded and colored hardtop, get that swapped out, get it shipped out. Now, what happens if you don't have your Bronco already scheduled for production and you still have a molded and colored hardtop? Well, if you have a first edition, rumor has it you should be okay. You still should be able to get a 2021 model. But if it's outside of a first edition and you keep that molded and colored hardtop and you don't have a scheduled date as of today, which today is, looks like it is Friday the 13th. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Okay, so maybe that has something to do with it. But Friday the 13th, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but if you don't have a scheduled date as of that date, Friday the 13th of August, by the way, I forgot to mention that. But if you don't have your date as of that date, you're scheduled for a production date, and you leave the molded and colored hardtop on there and it's not a first edition, it's gonna automatically kick it to a 2022 model year. If you take it and you want to try and have still the option to get a 2021, the very first thing Ford's going to tell you to do is go with a 4-door and go with the soft top with the hardtop prep kit, meaning you can upfit or retrofit it with a molded and colored hardtop later on down Life's Highway. Now, after spending 2 full days with this soft top, I'm starting to like this soft top a lot more than I thought I would. And now this one doesn't even have the hardtop prep kit, so I'm kind of pretty much stuck with the soft top forever. And I'm kind of okay with it right now. And I'm not trying to talk you all out of a molded and colored hardtop. I'm just actually thoroughly impressed with how much I like this soft top. So I hope that kind of gives you guys a little bit of insight. Yes, it sucks. It sucks that this happens. It sucks that, you know, everybody, you know, oh, Ford screwed the pooch on this launch. Yes, there's some things that could have been done better, but I don't think Ford screwed the pooch on this. I think everybody's dealing with COVID-related shipping or COVID-related supplier issues. I mean, who would have thought that the housing costs would drive up as high as it has? Who would have thought that you can't get appliances, you can't get household furniture? Everybody's dealing with this kind of issue. And I tell you, I think that Ford is doing a hell of a job playing with the cards that they're dealt, if that makes sense. And once again, I'm not just sitting here trying to pump up Ford. I'm not trying to peel you guys off the ceiling. I don't really care, because a lot of you guys have Broncos on order with other dealerships, not us, and it doesn't make a difference to us. And so once again, if you guys don't ever buy something from us, we don't care. We appreciate you. We love you guys, and thank you for supporting our channel, because it's huge. It means a lot to us. I just want you guys to understand that, yes, I'm a little bit biased, but I'm trying to speak from the heart here. And I'm not afraid to light them up, but I just think that it's just a crappy set of circumstances that has been since basically the early 2020. So anyways, that is kind of my take on the molded and colored hardtop issue. And yeah, take it, you know, if you think I'm absolutely off my rocker, or you think I'm, you know, leave me some comments, let me know down below. I tell you what, let's do this. Let's take the doors off. We'll take the doors off this Bronco, showcase what that looks like for you as well, since you guys have made it this, you know, this video has already been long as all get out. Let's just go ahead and make it an hour and a half, I don't know. So let's go ahead and do this. Before we take the top off, or before we put the top back on, let's take the doors off, showcase what that looks like, kind of give you one of the world's longest reviews of the 2021 Ford Bronco. So without further ado, let's go ahead and head back to the dealership where we can take the doors off. All right, now let's show you what the actual process of removing these doors looks like. I will tell you though, this is not a step-by-step tutorial for on and off. Bronco Nation has a fantastic video. You need to check that out. I'll link that down below on how to add and remove those doors. But I am going to show it to you today. And the first thing you need to know is every Bronco is shipped with this little set of toolkits. Now, what's a fun little fact here is that it's got everything included that you need to remove the doors, and every one of them actually say Bronco on the every piece of tool. So this is something that is definitely designed to be used, but it's also probably something you're going to want to keep. It's kind of nice little keepsake, if you will. So nonetheless, let's go ahead and take the tool. I will tell you, for the YouTube purposes, I've already loosened it up, but there's going to be 2 bolts. There's going to be one located right here, and there's going to be another one located right here. You want to unloosen those up, but before you do that, you actually want to remove this particular door plug. This is the electricals for the door itself. There's going to be a flap located behind it. You want to pop that flap out and then pull the electrical piece out of the actual vehicle itself. Then once you've got that taken care of, you want to remove the bolt on the top. And once again, I've already got it loosened up for the sake of the video. You want to loosen up the one on the bottom, and then from there you can remove those particular bolts. Now I will tell you though, you want to make sure that you keep these, do not lose them. You want to put them back in the door when once you got the door off, because you don't want to have to go finding parts later on. But the nice thing about this particular Bronco and all of them is they've got spaces where they tell you where you want to hold onto the vehicle. So you'll see there's a word located right here that says lift. It's designed to put your hand right there. It's literally designed for your hand to hold right there. And then what I would probably recommend doing is just holding right here. And then from here, you just want to lift up gently and pull it off the door. And as you can see, I mean, it's not light, but it is lighter than most people would probably expect. Now, I've got door bags coming for this thing. I'm trying not to scratch the door on my brand new Bronco. But nonetheless, you've got door bags that you'll be able to slide onto the door before you pull it off, so that way you don't have to worry about scratching, dinging it up and all that kind of stuff. And as you can see, there you go. You got a doorless Bronco. Now, as I mentioned to you just a second ago, I probably would recommend dropping these bolts back in here, so that way you don't have to worry about losing that hardware. Just a little pro tip, if you will. Actually, I guess that one needs to go in the other door. Just make sure you don't lose the stuff. You may even want to include that or add that into this extra little pouch that you've got located inside of the toolkit itself. So let's go ahead and remove the rest of those doors. As far as the door removal process, if you've done one, you can pretty much do all of them. I'm going to explain this door as well, but pretty much it's the same process all the way forward. So if you see me fast forwarding, that's exactly why. The very first thing I want to do is come in here and remove or unplug that electrical outlet. Once again, you've got this door that covers the electricals on the Bronco itself, so pull it forward and then pull the electrical piece out. From there, you want to unscrew or loosen the bolts. Once again, you got one underneath it. And then you've got one at the bottom as well. Make sure you don't lose those bolts. You've got the locator handle right here. I use the handle on the outside and just very gently lift it up and straight off. And it's that easy to remove the door. And here she is with the doors off, all butt naked and stuff. I'm just, YouTube algorithm probably gonna hit me for that, but no, there's nothing naked going on. Just the doors are off, the roof is back, and the Bronco in its natural element. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. We appreciate you making it this far in a very long and lengthy video. If you haven't already done so, comment down below on what you think we're going to be doing to this Bronco on the first round of revisions. As I've probably mentioned to you already, we're going to go through multiple different suspension setups, lift kits, wheels, tires, all that kind of stuff. So let us know what you think we're going to do. Give us your predictions down below and stay tuned very, very soon for the updates on this new Bronco. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel with that bell notification turned on so you don't miss a single video. Peace.